Now, the Democratic Alliance is warning of a water crisis from the 1st to the 3rd of April in Gauteng. Despite controlling all 3 metros in the province, the party says that provincial and national government must intervene to avoid scores of residents going without water while Rand Water carries out major maintenance. eNCA reporter Silindelo Masikane checks how many areas will be affected by this shutdown, and she joins us now live. Slee, the DA clearly going out to warn people before Rand Water is able to. What are they attributing this to? Is it another maintenance program by Rand Water?
From what we understand, it is a maintenance program by Rand Water, and we know, of course, that that program is going to run from the 1st to the 3rd of April. And we've just concluded a press briefing here at the Gauteng legislature with the DA caucus, which says that, in fact, there's a water crisis that's looming here in Gauteng. I am joined by the DA's Soli Msimanga. So just to summarize some of the concerns from the DA in terms of this planned maintenance, as well as just water supply in general in the province.
Well, thank you very much. The problem that we're sitting with is far-reaching than what is the scheduled planned maintenance that is going to be taking place next week. We are seeing a growing trend where Rand Water's ability to supply water to the residents of Gauteng in general is becoming more and more of a problem, which has an effect on the municipality's ability to provide water to its own residents. And this is something that, we have been talking to or trying to get Rand Water around the table to talk to, and in terms of addressing. What we are saying is that you're having a situation right now when Rand Water decides that they're going to throttle down or they're going to switch off, water to particular lines, and municipalities are not informed in time, and therefore they're not able to inform residents so that residents could take precautionary measures. That has an implication on the ability of the municipality then to be able to provide water to its own residents. I'll give you an example. So if you're having residents of Lodiam being throttled down, or the reservoir being throttled down, then the residents of Lodiam will not be able to then get water. Municipalities then therefore will have to then take tankers that are usually then be used to provide water to informal settlements to be able to then provide water in these particular areas. Now, municipalities will never have enough tankers to be able to continue doing this on an ongoing basis. Rand Water doesn't take any kind of responsibility whatsoever in this regard. And we are now also sitting with infrastructure backlog in terms of the water maintenance that is sitting for in the regions of billions, if you were to then combine the number of municipalities that we do have here. And this is what part of what we are also now bringing up is that there needs to be an engagement with the minister, with the national minister, and also bring in the disaster team from a province to then say, how do we then assist municipalities? But over and above assisting municipalities, how do we plan going forward? We don't want to see a situation like what we're seeing with electricity happening with water here in Gauteng. And this is, where unfortunately the trend seems to be going.
You speak of responsibility. Some will ask then, what is the responsibility of the municipalities to ensure that residents have that constant water supply?
Well, there's quite a number of things that municipalities are doing and need to be doing. One is that they need to be able to then communicate in time so that residents, can fill up containers and fill up the tubs in order to then ensure that they have enough water. But if they're not communicated with by Rand Water in time to communicate with the residents, they're not going to be able to do that. The second thing is the residents or the municipalities are encouraged to then build up in terms of their maintenance of infrastructure. But what we have seen that municipalities, because of the decades of neglect or the decades of not building up capacity, are now sitting with a problem where they are not able to then keep up. I mean, all the municipalities, take Johannesburg as an example, the Joburg municipality has only got an 8 billion rand capital expenditure budget per year, but the backlog, water alone, is standing at over 22 billion rand. So it tells you that even if you stop doing everything and only focus on water, you're not going to be able to then get, to that particular goal that you're trying to reach. And this is why we are saying we're also wanting to lobby the province, the premier, the MEC to then say, can there be a conversation with the national minister? And even if we bring in the presidents and all the other stakeholders to then say, how do we then assist these municipalities as well to build up capacity in terms of maintaining of the infrastructure that is already in existence, and also to ensure that when we build new infrastructure, that Rand Water is able to to then be on board in terms of increasing the amount of water that is needed by this municipality. Another example that I can give you right now is that a municipality like Tembisilehani, which is supplied water through the Tshwane feeders, now are requiring over 22 megaliters of water a day. Tshwane can only offer 14 because that's what they're getting from rainwater. Now, if we're not able to then build up that capacity and build up the network to be able to then provide this particular municipality, you'd realize that there is a disaster that is, looming in the long run. So all these things are things that needs to be looked at, and different spheres of government, and including, the specialists in this particular field, needs to be brought around the table, and we need to be addressing this as a matter of urgency, lest we are going to find ourselves in a disaster where we can see water lying in our dams, but that water will not reach, the end user at the end of the day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that is the DA's Solim Simanga here at the Gauteng Legislature, speaking around what the DA describes as a Gauteng water crisis that is looming.
Right, Silindelo Masikane, let's leave it there for now.